Sekiro, my first Souls type game I had laid hands on, and it quickly became one of my all time favorites, like many of you. But I noticed something about the community. Most of us have only talked about the gameplay, rightfully so, but what about the story? This is where I, Crusty Toast, come in. I play the game for the fourth time, but this time to understand the core of the story. And guess what? The story was a thesis on freedom being the curse of Sekiro, which remains true in reality as well. Let me explain why. Sekiro, this man, was picked up from the middle of a battlefield by his current father Ol, who was a scavenger shinobi at the time. How was Sekiro in the middle of a battlefield as a child? I don't know. Why was he there? I don't know. What was he there for? I don't know. Then what do you know? I don't know. All I know is that he was a nameless child with no identity of his own. He was given an alias, Wolf, by his foster father, Ol. Heck, even his name Sekiro, which the game uses, was also given by another. This man was brought up in the way of Iron Code,
親の次に大事なもの、お前の心に刻むがよい。
and literally became the physical version of the code itself. He simply lived as another's tool. After all, he did not have his own belief. Or, better way to put it is, he simply did not have the capacity to think of one. Yet, Sekiro, on the brink of death, was then given immortality by his dear friend and master, Kuro.
狼よ、我が血と共に生きてくれ。
And while almost everyone were going crazy to get this power for themselves, even his bloody own father, the man who took care of him, literally backstabbed him just so he could get the power for himself. But here was Sekiro, who actually had the power of immortality, but simply did not give two fucks about it. Or rather, he was just incapable of knowing the value of immortality. But do you know the value of immortality? Do you believe that it is a good thing or a bad thing or something else even? Let me know in the comments. Anyways, coming back, his master Kuro tells that he wanted to let go of his immortality.
狼よ、留飲など誰の手にもあるべきではないのだ。
And Sekiro, guess what? He said yes, of course. Not because he wanted to, but because he was taught so. Do you see now how his whole bloody life is a documentary of a living puppet devoid of his own identity? A very sad case indeed. Now, you may be asking, but Krusty, you said that Sekiro's curse was his freedom. All we see is him having the opposite of that. Isn't that his curse? Isn't his curse that of him not having freedom? Well, you're not wrong about him being the opposite of being free, but that was still not his curse. Because right here, this scene is where we are introduced to it first. On the surface, to us, it's just him making a choice. But from his point of view, he just got split into two.
What?
As we discussed earlier, he was the embodiment of Iron Code. When the code was dissected between choosing his father or choosing his master, he himself got dissected. Now it's his choice to go for either one part of his. This is where we see Sekiro gain his first drop of freedom. You may be asking again, but Krusty, how is this freedom? He simply went from following a code to choosing another. Well, the thing is, freedom isn't the absence of a code, rather, the ability to choose your own, whether it be that of someone else's. The choice in itself is what freedom is. And that is exactly what the game gives us. Choice. The game shows us this curse perfectly with its 4 different endings. Each ending is the direct outcome of a new code that Sekiro chose, and each outcome is for him and him alone to bear. The Shura ending, he chooses to obey his father's code. The curse, he becomes an unthinking, unfree demon of slaughter.
そなたはシュラではない。
The Immortal Severance ending, he chooses to follow his master Kuro. The curse, He must bear the pain of killing the very person he swore to protect, doomed to become a grim, lonely sculptor for the rest of his life. The purification ending. He chooses to invent his own code.
人として生きてくだされ。
The curse? This new belief costs him his own life. He must sacrifice himself to free his master and friend, Kuro. The dragon's homecoming ending. He chooses to invent another new code.
竜の涙を。
The curse? He must bear the burden of a long, uncertain, and difficult journey to the west.
参りましょう。西に神なる竜の故郷に。
Whether you consider it to be a good thing, a bad thing, that is something for you to decide. That is the curse of freedom. Not the choice itself, neither is the ability to have a choice, but the burden of its consequences, the burden of responsibility you must take upon for the freedom you have. The burden of outcome made in the lapse of freedom is for you and you alone to bear. That is the curse of Sekiro, and that is the curse of us all.